Morning guys, it's currently 5:24 and it's about 13 degrees outside, which is a bit cold, but I'm fine. Let's go on a walk. So basically what I'm trying to do is take this approach that's called constructionism and replace the current approach called instructionism. Long story short, people tell me I talk a lot about these two learning models. And I think it's important to do that because most EdTech companies just look at things from a way too simplistic perspective. Instructionism at its core, it's what you have in schools, where a teacher delivers information to passive students. You don't actually actively engage, at least a lot, with what happens when a teacher tells you anything. Except for maybe a few questions, but that's not by far active engagement. Constructionism, on the other hand, is what you do with Lego. You have a hypothesis in your mind, maybe it's not even that, maybe it's just a direction where you kind of try to go towards, but you're not really sure. And what happens is you start building things, you start doing things. And as you see things, you get feedback. It's feedback from yourself, or it can be feedback from others. And so you iterate. It's kind of how startups go. It's a hypothesis, and then you show it to people, you iterate, and you do it again. Why is it important? Why is this model better than the other? Well, it kind of goes back to how we learn as humans. If you look at how AI models learn, people confuse, at least in reinforcement learning, you learn by training the model on a dataset. But what does that mean? Well, first, the model in a way kind of makes a hypothesis about a task that we're giving it. It solves it. It does the task in itself. And then it compares it to what it should have done. So the feedback comes from comparing the two. But the model doesn't look at what the output should be until it has already generated its own version, which is totally different from the way we approach things in school. And it might feel like it's a very simplistic difference. It might feel like it's not that important, but it is, because it's fundamentally different from how we learn. In order to learn something, you don't need to know why things are right. You need to know why things aren't right the way you think they could be right. Meaning, imagine you're in a physics classroom and you do a problem and the teacher does the same problem. And to you, both methods are going to make sense. It's not a question of why is this right. The reason why you don't understand the topic is because you don't understand why your method isn't right. You have to understand why something cannot be right. It's easy to understand why something might make sense and therefore think that you understand it, but it's different to understand why something definitely isn't right. So that's kind of the approach I had for the past couple of days. I've been looking at the model of constructionism, which is not new. This model has been developed by Michel Resnick. Actually, it has been developed by Simon Papert, but then taken by Michel Resnick and applied, for example, in the coding app for kids called Scratch, which has been used all over the world. But even though the app in itself embodies what constructionism is, schools still use it in an instructionist way, meaning they tell you what to build. You're not really given freedom to just test things out. So, long story short, we're trying to do constructionism at scale. How are we going to make money out of that? It's still not sure. I'm still not sure about it. But what I'm sure about is the future of work is going to change. There's no doubt about it, right? Which means the future of learning is going to change. It's an obvious secondary effect. People, for some reason, understand that work is going to change, but don't really understand that education is going to change as well. It's mandatory. Or if they do understand, they don't want to build in the educational space because they just look and try to use analogies here, in the sense that by analogy, by thinking through analogies, you just look at the fact that education has a huge graveyard of startups, literally, because it's hard. It's hard to build a startup in education. It's like selling a pain to some degree, because learning is hard. It's way easier to sell things which we desire, as in, I don't know, candies, you can call them. It's way easier to sell an app that makes you feel like you're learning, rather than the actual experience of learning. But at the end, what we're doing here is way more than that. We're expanding what the human potential is in itself. Like, we're enhancing the human potential. So I think that's worth pursuing, even if for the next couple of years there is a high chance that probably few things could work. But that was pretty much my short morning walk. It's kind of cold outside, so let me get inside. Wow, it's really cold outside. What was in my mind for going on a walk at this time? I don't know. But one thing is clear. I'm going to pursue this. I'm going to build in education, even though it doesn't look sexy. To me, it looks very sexy because no one wants to pursue education. So usually no one wants to pursue $1 billion idea because it's not obvious. I mean, to me, it's obvious. So I'm just going to do that. There's a very high chance that I'm wrong. A very high chance of not succeeding. And I'm willing to take it because Adil Mania told me VCs take bets. They bet on founders. While founders also take bets, we bet on the future. We have a model of how the future will look like, and we're building for that. And I kind of have the model for my future and what it should look like and what it looks like, and I'm just trying to build for that. So let's get back to building, and hopefully I see you in another episode of Building Inside the Castle. Goodbye.